Have you ever wondered why, despite all the warning signs, heartbreaks, and pain, your heart keeps beating for someone you know, deep down, isn't good for you? It's not magic. It's not bad luck. And you're not alone. This is a pattern as old as humanity itself, a mystery engraved deep within our psyche. Today, we'll venture into the shadows of our hearts to uncover the answer to a question many ask in silence. Why do we fall in love with the wrong person? And the key isn't in the present, it's in our distant past. Welcome. To understand this mystery, we first need to talk about a fascinating concept: attachment theory. This theory isn't new. It was developed decades ago by British psychologist John Bowlby. In essence, he proposed that the way we relate to our primary caregivers during early childhood, usually our parents or guardians, creates an internal model or a manual for love. This manual unconsciously determines what kind of love feels familiar and therefore safe even if that love is painful. This manual is mainly divided into 3 attachment styles: secure, anxious, and avoidant. Imagine a child who cries and whose mother consistently comes to comfort them. That child learns that the world is safe, that their needs will be met, and that they can trust others. This is secure attachment. As adults, they are likely able to give and receive love in a balanced way. But what if the responses were inconsistent? Sometimes the mother came with love, other times ignored the cries, and sometimes even reacted with anger. The child becomes confused and anxious. They don't know what to expect. They learn that love is unpredictable, that they have to fight for it, and that they must always be on alert to avoid losing it. This is anxious attachment. On the other hand, there's the child who, every time they cried, was ignored or scolded. They learn that showing vulnerability doesn't bring comfort, it brings rejection. To protect themselves, they stop asking for help. They learn to be self-sufficient and to distrust others. This is avoidant attachment. Now let us return to the initial question. Why do we fall in love with the wrong person? Because our brain, in its search for familiarity, confuses familiar with love. If you grew up with an avoidant, emotionally distant parent, that coldness feels familiar. So, as an adult, you're likely inexplicably drawn to someone equally cold, unavailable, who makes you work for their affection. Your internal manual says, "This is what I know. This is love." And even if it hurts, your brain interprets it as home. If instead you grew up with an anxious caregiver, whose love was smothering or full of drama, you may get bored with someone stable and calm. You miss the emotional roller coaster. A peaceful relationship may feel suspicious. You wonder, where's the drama? If there's no drama, is there really passion? Without realizing it, you end up seeking someone who recreates that familiar chaos. Let's look at a real-life example. Imagine Maria. Maria had a father who traveled frequently, and when he was home, was critical and hard to please. Maria developed anxious attachment. As an adult, she falls repeatedly for busy, distant men. She tries very hard to get their attention, supports them unconditionally, but always feels inadequate. Why does she repeat this pattern? Because she's trying to heal childhood wounds. Her brain believes that if she wins the love of this cold, busy man, she will finally have her father's love. She's repeating the pattern, hoping for a different ending, but it rarely works. Now imagine Carlos. His mother was overprotective and didn't allow him to make his own decisions. Carlos developed avoidant attachment. As an adult, whenever a partner gets too close, says, "I love you," or wants commitment, Carlos panics. He makes excuses, distances himself, and eventually sabotages the relationship. He runs from intimacy because, in his manual, love means losing independence and being controlled. What's familiar to him is fleeing. The good news is that our love manual isn't set in stone. The first and most powerful step is awareness. Ask yourself, what pattern am I repeating? Am I attracted to people who make me feel abandoned, or to people I need to run from? Recognize that what we feel as chemistry, or love at first sight, is often just our brain recognizing a familiar pattern of pain. The second step is to reprogram that manual. This may require therapy, introspection, and above all, practicing conscious choice. It means giving a chance to someone who treats you well, who is stable and communicative, even if at first your brain tells you they're boring. You're creating a new familiarity. You're teaching your brain what healthy love truly is. Love shouldn't be a constant battle. It shouldn't be anxiety, doubt, or coldness. Love, in its purest form, is peace. It's feeling safe to be yourself, without fear of abandonment or being consumed. If this journey into your emotional patterns resonated with you, if it helped you understand something or feel less alone, it would be amazing if you supported this channel. Subscribe so you don't miss the next videos, where we'll continue exploring the fascinating world of our emotions. Leave a like if you enjoyed it, and most importantly, a comment sharing your experience or suggesting new topics you'd like us to cover. Your story can help others. Thank you for watching. Remember, understanding the past isn't about blame, it's about liberation. See you next time.